Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Welcome to Women's Hoops and Talks, the What podcast, where we are elevating the voice of women in basketball. I am Tara, joined as always. I totally morphed our names together. I am Tara Bowen-Biggs, joined as always by Cassidy Gemmett. Cassidy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Hopefully you're going to speak a little bit more clearly than I have so far today.
I don't know if I can make any promises, but we're going to try.
My head is full of basketball because there's been so much lately, and I was shocked today to realize that we are exactly halfway through the season.
Halfway. It felt like,
can you believe it?
It felt like the first quarter of the season went by so, it felt like there was a million things that happened, and it felt like it took forever in a good way. And then the last quarter that we've been through just felt like it flew by, like it was just gone.
What have we learned? What have we learned about the Trail Blazers so far this year? What do you think? Halfway point.
We're really good once we lead after three quarters. We're excellent after we lead after three quarters. I think we've learned that this team probably has a special bond, and they play like they're having fun with each other, which is really great to watch. And I think that we've learned that the NBA is a little bit crazier and more unstable than we thought it was going to be this year. And there are a lot of openings and possibilities.
It's been quite a ride, and it's going to be quite a ride. But let's focus in a little bit more on some of the more recent games that the Blazers have played. Thoughts on the most recent couple? I kind of look at the last group of games for us to logically talk about would be the OKC, Houston, and Knicks games.
Yeah.
OKC and Houston, a rare home back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody who talks about basketball is obligated to say that, because I don't think I've heard anybody discuss those two games without saying a rare home back-to-back.
It is pretty rare.
Blazers lose in OKC, lose at home to OKC, win at home to Houston. What are your thoughts on those games? Good wins, bad wins, good loss, bad loss?
Any win's a good win to an extent, but I think that the OKC game was good in the sense that it was a close game. And I think that that's always a fun game to watch, but I think losing that game also fueled the next two games. Losing that OKC game was like, okay, we are not losing to Houston tomorrow. Not in this building, not 2 days in a row. It's not going to happen. And I think they came out really strong against Houston, especially on defense. Mm-hmm. The Knicks, I expected a little bit more from them in that first and second quarters, just to kind of set the team up to not have to play that hard later on in that game. But overall, a good game. And once they were able to separate themselves, they were able to stay separated, which has been kind of an issue sometimes this year. So that was nice. What do you think about those set of games?
So the OKC one was a loss, but I didn't feel terrible about it. And there's a few reasons why. Partly because I felt like the Blazers could have played better and could have easily won that game. And while that seems like counterintuitive, I would rather, at this point in the season anyway, have it be that the Blazers were close and they could have won, rather than it have like such a huge, massive talent difference that there was just nothing that they could have done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That makes a more interesting game to watch as a fan, and it also like makes you hopeful for the future. It's like short-term disappointment, but like you guys knew what you did. You could have just done a couple of things better, and you would have won that game.
And I feel like you got a lot of good film from that game too.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. And so that game against Oklahoma City happened after a rare home 2 days off. The Blazers have been playing every other night, and they had 2 days in a row off. And I think they actually had a chance to practice, which is probably one of the first times that they've actually had a practice in a while because they've been playing so frequently. Yeah. So I kind of wish that I had known what they had gone over in practice to find out how they implemented the things that they talked about in practice, because that's another thing about a loss that doesn't bother me all that much, is if they're doing the things that they're supposed to be doing and they can't get the win, but they've learned something and they're applying it. Again, at this point in the season, that doesn't bother me as much. When you're, as a fan, a close game is exciting, and as somebody who's trying to analyze the game, if you can see growth, whether or not they win or lose, I think that growth is something that makes it, if you can see the growth, it makes it not that bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we even saw growth in between OKC and Houston, even though it was such a quick turnaround. I think we saw less of the same mistakes and a little bit more of that drive to, like, a sense of urgency almost was upped in that Houston game. Yeah,
for sure. And even though he scored 38 points on them, they did look like they had gotten into James Harden's head, which is always fun.
Absolutely. That's a win in itself.
So the final game is the game against the Knicks. Now, something that has developed recently is the insertion of Jake Layman. But he started on Saturday because Moe Harkless was resting his knee in the second night of a back-to-back. And then he got a lot of playing time on Monday because Moe's knee was bothering him again. And Jake made the most of his time, had some really fun, energizing plays. He had his first double-double. What do you think about Jake? And there's a debate going on. Should Stotts just play Jake more and let Harkless recover? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Ooh, I'm still so torn about this. But I think seeing more of Jake is never going to be a bad thing. I think that his development and growth is amazing. This was just his 100th NBA game. So now we're 100 games into Jake Layman playing, and we're going to get to see everything that he's done.
That's exciting.
So
when
far.
did he hit his 100th game?
The last game we played, so against the Knicks, was his 100th game. I think that I love watching Moe Harkless play. I love the plays that he makes that you don't necessarily see on the stat sheet. Those quick moves and things like that. But I think Jake has a lot of that too. And we're seeing Jake develop into such a exciting player to watch that I don't see a problem with letting Moe, feel really a lot better before he comes back, because Jake is a good person in his place, and who knows, maybe Jake in the long run ends up a better place in that rotation.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and a lot of the conversation around it is like one or the other, and I guess Stotts kind of has to deal with that, but Jake has also kind of replaced Nick Stauskas in the lineup as well. So I don't know. I've kind of enjoyed the last week and a half or so, because Stotts has been tweaking the rotation a little bit. We've been seeing more of Seth Curry. We've been seeing Evan Turner in a slightly different role. They're letting Seth Curry handle the ball a little bit more. We've seen that 3-guard lineup, if you consider Evan Turner a guard, with Dame and Curry and Evan Turner, and that seems pretty effective. Yeah. But as far as Layman and Harkless go, I still think that Harkless on his best nights is better than Jake on his best nights. Yeah. And I don't want to say that I don't buy into this this whole thing that, Harkless, doesn't, care enough or whatever. I think it's just, he's a different kind of player than some of the other players, and it's hard to tell, how he's feeling because he keeps everything pretty buttoned up. But I think on his best nights, I think he's a really, really good player, and on his best nights, the Blazers are at their best. And I think Jake Layman is a really great solid bench player. You know what I mean? Who can come in, give you energy. But I think I still at this point want to give Moe some more starter time. But I don't know. When do you cut it off, right? When do you say this experiment is done?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a way that you could set a cutoff point. But I think that you can always, why do you have to have one or the other? Why can't you pick maybe what's best against your matchup, or just have that ability to throw teams off thinking maybe they think they're going to get Moe and they end up getting Jake, or vice versa. And so I think that could be a fun thing. But I think as long as I don't want to say frustration, but almost as long as we don't see any frustration and things are still flowing well with Moe, I don't see a reason not to start Moe. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just glad I'm not the coach. And that's one of the things that I find so interesting about sports and basketball is these hard decisions. Like it's full of hard decisions. It's whether or not you're on the basketball court having to make those split-second hard decisions, or if you're the coach who's making those decisions, or if you're the GM, right?
Yeah.
It's full of hard decisions. If it was easy, you wouldn't get however many $1 million a year.
And it's this combination of using analytics and using personalities and the psychology of it all. And there's so many moving parts that involve so many different processes of thought that just aren't even necessarily generally correlated, that you have to think about so many moving parts that are so different from each other.
Yeah, and no decision is easy, really.
Yeah, no.
Although I would argue that firing Tom Thibodeau, it was pretty clear to me.
Yeah. You mean the Timber Bulls weren't working out?
Shocking.
Yeah. I'm surprised by the timing of that. I'm not surprised by it happening. I'm just kind of wondering why it happened in January. And not, I don't know, months ago.
Right. September. Well, and I remember this summer, listening to national writers talking about Tibbs will be gone by the end of the season, but they'll let him stay for the whole season because why would they get rid of him? They paid him so much money. He'll be there. He still knows how to coach. He's still a good coach. And I'm just I feel like players have gotten to a point where they realize they don't have to respond to someone screaming at them. Or they just don't respond to people who scream at them when they look around the league and see other coaches, not yelling and screaming at their players.
I think there was it'd be interesting to really dive into this, but I feel like there's been a massive way in which coaches coach, especially at the NBA level, because we've reached to this point where it's yes, we're all adults. Yes, we're all professionals. And so there's got to be, and players make more than coaches. So there's got to be a level of working together versus someone just telling you what to do, because that's just not going to work.
If Terry Stotts wasn't the coach of the Trail Blazers, and they also couldn't have Popovich,
Okay.
Who else do you think would be a good coach to fit with the Trail Blazers right now?
Mark Jackson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I think Mark Jackson's really good at handling teams that have that cohesion where they're working together. Because I think that there probably is a certain level of difficulty when a team are close friends, where you have to let people know that they need to speak up for themselves, and they need to be able to tell, especially their friends, but especially their teammates, when things are and are not working. And I think Mark Jackson is really good at dictating that, because I think we saw him do that with that Warriors team. And I think he is a coach that respects his players. And I think that's the kind of coach that this locker room would need. And I think that they have it in Terry Stotts, but I think Mark Jackson's another a coach that does that.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know enough about him. I just like Rick Carlisle.
Yeah, I do like Rick Carlisle.
And I know that, Terry Stotts came from that tree, so it probably wouldn't be a big adjustment period. But I think that's a really interesting idea of somebody very different from outside the I don't know if Mark Jackson is from that coaching tree or not, or if he just kind of forged his own way, his own path in there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, one last thing to talk about before we go on to our last topic. Noah Vonleh was in town with the New York Knicks. He had himself a really nice night. What are your thoughts on Noah Vonleh in Portland? Should they have kept him around? What do you think?
I miss Noah. I do. But I think I almost feel like he wouldn't be playing to the level that he's playing now if the trade didn't happen. And so I feel like we're seeing a Vonleh that is like re-inspired after everything that happened. But of course, I'd still love to have him on the team. But I think that for his own growth as a player, him making that switch really helped him. And so I think maybe we would have a different Vonleh if we had kept him than we're seeing now.
Yeah, I think that he, there's the fact that he, started all those games. So he did have an opportunity to play, but I think that the role that he was playing was very different than the role he's playing now. He has a bigger role.
Oh, yeah.
On the Knicks right now. And where he was before is that he was a sidekick and he was a go stand there and help out with that. And I always felt like Noah Vonleh made other players, like elevated the play of the other players around him. I thought he had something about him that made other players better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly why.
I don't know. He does play with a certain level of like passion and intent that I think probably fuels an energy on the court.
Yeah. And I think that he was just like a good, like kind of floor partner, you know what I mean? Like he feels what his other, teammates are. Like he understands how he fits into, the whole team, as opposed to, being somebody who's like just going to ball out and do his best. Because one of the things I always enjoyed watching is he just always played like somebody who loved playing basketball.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch because he just looks like somebody who would rather be doing that than anything else in the whole world. And I think he was a good teammate. And maybe that's what I mean by, I think, he read where he was supposed to be. Although, now that I think about it, those were the years where I was always like, everybody's always crashing into each other under the backboard. And he was kind of right there.
Right there in the middle of it, the thick of things.
No kidding. Well, one of the things about Noah Vonleh too is if he was here and he was playing, does that mean? I mean, where would Zach Collins be in his development right now, or would like Aminu be coming off the bench so that Noah Vonleh can keep starting? It would just be. Yeah. It would be crowded. Yeah. Let's say if he was still here, and I'm just really happy for him that he is happy in New York. And I saw at least one story that he and Ed Davis are, sort of reconnected a little bit because Ed Davis is in Brooklyn and Noah Vonleh's in New York, and they've gotten together. I think it was in that Ed Davis article that broke everybody's hearts.
Yes. Definitely did some heartbreaking there.
Yeah. But they were friends. So that is my somewhat awkward segue into the second half. The second half of our program, where our intention was to talk about basketball and friendship. Because, that's a thing, right? It's for players and for people, really. So I guess one of my questions for you is some of the things that, Charles Barkley may grumble about, or some of these older guys who comment on the NBA, they might grumble about that, players are all friends now. What do you think about that?
I think there's always been, maybe there was more intense rivalries, but I think players have always been friends. I mean, if you look at Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson, that wasn't, recently, and they were real close friends. And I think maybe they did open the door to everybody else being closer as friends in the NBA. But I think it's a good thing for the league. I think it makes the league fun. I understand wanting more of the rivalry, but I think that you also want to play just as well against your friends, if not better, just like you'd want to play super well against siblings. So I think it makes the league more fun, and I think it makes the off the court part of the league a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No shortage of entertainment there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dwayne Wade commenting on LeBron walking into the arena with a glass of wine, just being like, this is the LeBron James I've been waiting for. And it's wonderful. I think it's great.
I think the fact that banana boat as a phrase has worked its way into our vernacular is such a glorious thing. And so the banana boat photo that was taken with LeBron and Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade, and I think it was Dwayne Wade wasn't even in the picture or anything, but anyway, it symbolized the friendship of these three mega stars. And I think we're transitioning in our society to a place where, love and friendship is now seen as a sign of strength and not weakness. And for these three top athletes to have this whole phrase, the banana boat, and have it to mean like, the ultimate really powerful friendship. I mean, because it also conveys how much power these three guys have when they're combined.
Yeah. Definitely. And it's funny how many great, like, classic things have come out of NBA friendships, like the Three Goggles that were so popular in Portland. That came out of Patty Mills making fun of Rudy Fernandez's eyesight one game.
Oh, is that right?
That's what the rumor is it was him making fun of his eyesight because he just wasn't shooting well. And then Rudy came out and shot a three and just made it immediately, did the Three Goggles, and then just like went off for the half. And that became like a thing in the NCAA. It was all over the NBA for a while. And it was all because, Patty's given Rudy some crap.
I thought that started here, but I never really wanted to believe it because I was like, oh, we probably just made up that story. But I do remember them talking about didn't they get in trouble for doing the Three Goggles in the middle of games?
I think they might have at some point.
The coach was like, no.
But it was too wonderful not to. I mean, how can you put a stop to that greatness?
Exactly. Yeah, there's even just within the Blazers now, there's the Damian C.J. friendship that makes the whole storyline about whether or not C.J. is going to be traded extra interesting. Because basketball is a business, but it's a business where made up of players who are people and have feelings. I think also another thing about why there's so many basketball friendships now is because players start through the AAU system so young, and they meet each other so young, like at the the McDonald's games, and the invitationals. So they meet each other when they're teenagers, and they. And then they go to college together. They might meet themselves in college. One of the friendships that I was always fascinated by was Gerald Henderson and Wayne Ellington. They grew up together playing AAU together. They even played together in high school, but then they chose different colleges. Henderson chose... Henderson went to Duke and Ellington went to North Carolina, right?
I think so.
Henderson is your Duke guy.
Yeah, Henderson is going to Duke.
And Wayne Ellington went to North Carolina because that is where he met Ed Davis. And then, they entered the NBA. And I think it's really fascinating and that when, Wayne Ellington's father was tragically killed, he was playing on the team with Ed Davis, and Gerald Henderson was in town playing that night.
Yeah.
That he found out about that. And just think about all the things that these young men have to navigate. I mean, they're in their early 20s when they're going through all of this. And I got to imagine that having your friends around, these guys that you've known for a long time, I imagine they have some really incredible bonds. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I always think of the game where Rudy Fernandez took that really rough hit in an LA game. And Sergio Rodriguez didn't travel with the Lakers that night, and he stayed in the hospital with Rudy. Oh, wow. Even though they were going to another game, he stayed and flew in later. And just like that kind of the friendship over that competition, but still letting it feed the competition at the same time, I think makes for a much, much better game. And I think CJ and Dame's relationship is so fun, especially for Portland to watch off the court as well as on the court. I mean, they're ridiculous with each other, and it's great.
Yeah, with them in trying to get people to vote for them for All-Star, which reminds me, have you voted for Damian Lillard for All-Star yet today?
I have. Have you?
I have. You know what I did? I actually sent your mother a meeting reminder. So she gets a reminder every single day, and I can send you one too if you want to. And if anybody wants me to send them a meeting reminder, I'll send it. They can go off every day at 1:00 in the afternoon to remind you to vote for the All-Star vote.
For Dame, CJ, and Nurk.
Yeah. But that also, not only are players friends, but there's real relationships that grow amongst fans. And, we're people who were friends. We knew each other outside of basketball. We knew each other. You and I met through actually robotics, which is kind of an odd thing. My kids competed in robotics, and your mom is really instrumental in the robotics program in Oregon. And so we met over that, but we very quickly bonded over the Blazers.
Absolutely. And I think that's an immediate connection to make with people, especially anything that happens all over sports. I think being part of a small market fan base makes it even more special sometimes. But I think that it's something that just brings people together.
Yeah, it's a commonality that no matter what you're doing or who you are, what your background is, if you share a love of a sport or a sports team, it gives you something to talk about right away. Like how many times have you been out of town and you see somebody else that's, wearing Blazer gear? Has that ever happened to you? I'm guessing it probably has.
And I get very excited.
Yeah. And sometimes these, friendships last for a really long time and become really outstanding, long-term relationships. Or maybe they just, last for a little while, but they enrich our lives. Do you want to explain a little bit about the interview or the discussion that we're going to play to wind up our episode today?
Absolutely. So I think basketball and those friendships that you make from being a fan can bring a lot of different people together, and especially sometimes people that you would not have necessarily met. And we got a chance to talk with Soosie and Arinze about their friendship. And I think what's super cool is not only just how close their relationship is, but their age difference between the two of them is pretty significant. Yet the Blazers basketball has brought them together. And I think they have a basketball family almost together. And it's great. And it's so wonderful to watch, and it was really fun to talk with them and learn about their experiences with basketball in general, and the relationship that they have formed being, I think, is 67 years apart in age. So I think that it is a beautiful thing, and it is so much fun. And they are both amazing super fans, as well as Charlene, who's amazing too. So it is such a fun interview, and so fun to hear the perspective of the Blazers from age ranging from 10 to 77.
Hello, my name is Arinze McGee.
Hi there, I'm Blazer fan Soosie.
Hi, I'm Charlene, Arinze's mom.
Awesome. So could we start off by hearing from each of you what your earliest Blazer memory is?
Well, I can start because I've got the earliest. I went to the very first game in October 1970. It was the most exciting thing I ever did with the Blazers.
My first memory, I'll probably say the first thing I can remember was working over the summer to save money and being at the first game at the Motor Center. I was so excited.
How about you, Arinze? What's your first memory?
That's hard. That's hard. That's hard.
Pick one.
Actually, while you're thinking, I'm going to ask Cassidy because she has been going to Blazer games since her mom was pregnant with her.
Yeah.
Wow.
I cannot remember my first Blazer memory, but I do know that some of my first words ever were "Go Blazers." Then I said high five, and then I said mom. So definitely a diehard fan, and I remember really young going down to the court and meeting Bill Walton. And I think I was probably about 2 or 3. Then I also got to meet Clyde Drexler at the time, so that was pretty great.
Did you think it went, Arinze?
All right, tell us, I guess. Man, oh, when we beat the Warriors and Dame dropped 51.
That is a good memory.
Yes. I like that one.
Awesome. Well, what we're here to talk about today is basketball when it's more than just basketball, and friendships and relationships that develop out of basketball. And one of the things I think is so great about the people that we have around the table here today is there's a wide age variety between all of us, but we all have the Blazers in common. Now, Soosie and Arinze are some of the biggest Blazer fans around. And they're giving us each other a high five right now. Awesome. So could you two talk about how you met and how you became friends?
Well, I met Miss Soosie at my 4th birthday.
And how did she end up coming to your 4th birthday party?
That my mother will explain.
So it was 6 years ago. I got off work and walked into Stanford's happy hour, and there I saw the Golden Girls. And Miss Soosie was part of the delegation. And my coworkers pointed him over because they knew that Arinze was a big Blazer fan. Literally, I think he was birthed as a Blazer fan. And they're like, look over there. And I went over and I saw the Golden Girls, started talking. I'm like, can you please come to his birthday party? Because, of course, it was a Blazer themed party. And Miss Soosie, we literally just bonded over that. And Miss Soosie shows up with a Blazer autographed basketball with the whole team, different Blazer collectibles from over the years. And the relationship was formed after that moment. So Stanford happy hour.
Awesome. We'll have to head there next.
Yeah, that's where we're going after this, for sure. And we're going to go find our own Golden Girls set. Oh, my God. So excited.
Charlene, you mentioned the Golden Girls. And Soosie, I would love to hear you talk about who the Golden Girls are for people who don't know.
Well, the Golden Girls are the Golden Girls who love the Portland Trail Blazers. And we got the name. You want to know the names of the girls? Well, we have Georgia Muller, we have Brenda Nelson, and we have Virginia Burke, and myself.
Mm-hmm. And how did you come to be?
Well, we all had been boosters, and we got seats, and we took a trip. And our first trip, I'm pretty sure, was Memphis, Tennessee. And when we got off the plane, we're standing down there trying to gather our bags and stuff. We didn't know where to go, we're lost. And we asked one of these guys, how can we get a taxi to get to the hotel we're supposed to go to? And he says, well, just follow me. And he led us out. And there was a cab. And then he said, excuse me, girls, can I tell you something? I said, sure, go ahead. And he says, you remind me of the Golden Girls. Aha! We have a new name. And from that moment on, that's what we've called ourselves.
And how long ago did the Golden Girls come into existence? The Golden Girls who love the Portland Trail Blazers.
Right.
Full name.
I'm going to say it was a little, probably when he was 3. We were members of the Booster Club. And like I said, it just got a little too political, and we wanted to have more fun. And so, Georgia's husband passed away, and so she joined our group. We started off with just the 3 of us, Brenda, myself, and Virginia. And then Georgia, we invited her to join us when her husband passed away. So we've had such a great time. I didn't find out about the Booster Club until I was playing golf one day, and Brenda was my partner, and she started talking about I said something about being a Blazer fan. She said, well, you ought to be part of the Booster Club. I said, Booster Club? What Booster Club? I didn't know about the Booster Club, so I joined.
Now, Arinze, how long? So you've known Soosie since you were 4 years old when she came to your birthday party. Have you ever been to a game with Soosie? Have you ever sat together at a game?
I don't think so.
I don't think we have.
We always see each other though after the games.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and Soosie are not exactly the same age, but you met through basketball. What's something that you really love about basketball that keeps you interested in the game and interested in keeping coming?
I just like competitiveness. That's why I like Draymond Green. What? He's a competitive guy.
Mom is rolling her eyes.
Are you talking about the Blazers?
Yeah.
Like if he wants to fight, then it's just what it is.
Oh,
That's the
dear.
We're
thing
talking about the Blazers. Stay focused.
That's the thing that I like most about basketball competitiveness, and sometimes when it gets out of hand, the fights. It's really entertaining.
Do you play basketball yourself? Yeah. What position do you play?
I could play any position, but I usually play power forward.
Is that your favorite position?
No.
What's your favorite?
I call myself a point forward.
A point forward. Okay.
I don't like Draymond Green. Sorry.
How about on the Blazers? Who's your favorite Blazer?
I don't talk about that.
Oh, you don't want to pick a favorite?
Can't talk about it.
Who's your favorite?
I can't talk about it.
It must be Damian. Come on. No?
Do you have a favorite former Blazer? Because you don't want to curse anything now, but do you have a favorite former Blazer? Because now they're not on the team, so it'd be okay to talk about.
LaMarcus Aldridge and West.
I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
I'm still salty.
Let's explore that.
Yeah, because his mother had cancer. Have some sympathy for the guy, and then he wanted to go back home to do all these things. And now you're mad at him.
Sure.
The only reason she's mad at him is the same reason I am. He said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. I love you guys. And then he left.
I believe in loyalty.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a business.
All right.
I like this kid. I feel like we're very similar.
San Antonio's a great organization. And if he ever went to anywhere else, that's the place where I want him to go, because it's not like Blazers and San Antonio have a rivalry.
Right.
Well, they do now. They have all of our old
players.
Yeah, they took Patty Mills. I'm still upset about that.
Patrick was a great guy, but everything has to end.
Well, now we have Dame, so it's okay.
That's true.
We got over it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and guess what? He's way better than Patty.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
I would agree with that.
So, Arinze, who's your top 5 Blazers?
Hmm?
Your top 5 Blazers. Your
Of
top
all
favorite-
time?
Mhm.
Man, I gotta do something.
Arinze, you don't need to look that far.
I need to look at all the rosters.
No. Stop.
Not all the rosters, but like.
How about this? Before we got started, you were really wanted to talk about last night's game against the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
Let's talk about how you think the future of the Blazers looks right now.
5 to 10 years title.
So you think they're going to hang on to Damian will be around for 5 to 10 more years?
That's what he tells me.
Oh, you got the insider information.
Damian's retiring a Blazer, right?
That's what he tells me.
That's what he says.
Everybody.
He says that to everybody,
That's what he says.
and I believe him.
5 years. Yeah.
So what do you think about for the rest of this year? Do you think how do you think?
Playoffs.
Okay, do you think they're going to
I
make
think
the
we have
playoffs?
a chance. Don't want to jinx it. But this could be the year.
This could be the year that they make it to the playoffs.
Wrong finger.
Oh, we're knocking on Soosie's ring. Good luck ring, Blazer ring.
No, title.
Oh, is that a 77 ring that you're showing us?
It might be. I've had it forever. I can't remember where I even got it. Is it a title ring?
He remembers.
No, Bill Schonley's looks way more different.
Oh, okay.
His finger's really big, though.
I have to tell you one story.
Please do.
Okay. Okay. We're buddies, and he loves the Blazers, and I love the Blazers. And I was telling him, well, someday you have to come over to my house because my whole entire garage is decorated. Inside you come in, I have a bathroom on the first floor. It's head to toe decorated. I have a Blazers
The first Blazer
chair.
ticket.
I mean,
That was like $5.74.
yeah.
Wow. And
Anyway.
now the 300 level costs like $45.
What?
So the 300 level now costs like $45.
Yeah.
I don't get why people. I mean, I understand that you want to see the game, but why do you put your back on the wall? It's really scary. I'm afraid of heights. Well, I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm
Okay,
afraid of
folks.
heights.
It's okay. Anyway, we were talking, and I was telling him all the stuff I had. I said, you got to come over. Well, I got together with Charlene and said, okay, what day works for you? And we worked it out, and they came over to my house. Now, when they walked in the door, hanging on the door is "Welcome, Blazer fans," right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a flag out there, a Blazer flag. They come in. I've got almost every bobblehead that was ever out, and it's a huge shelf, all of them. I've got all kinds of stuff in the first floor. I mean, he's already excited. He can't believe it. Then I take him out into the garage, and I've got some signed basketball shoes. I've got all kinds of things out
Cutouts.
there. And I have a
Pinheads.
cutout of Clyde Drexler, the size of Clyde Drexler.
Life size.
It's
Yeah,
like
it was-
Blazer Disney World.
It is.
Well, the funniest part of the whole thing, I mean, he walked out and he's going, wow. And he said, can I ask you a question? I said, what? And he said, when you die, you think I can have this stuff? And you know
We
what?
got right to the point.
You know what I said? Of course. Because my kids are not crazy about it. They don't even have time to come and go to a game with me. They loved it when I was young.
He's like, I don't
when
want you
they
to
were
die,
young.
but when you die, I'm like, don't say it. Even here, and I'm like,
And I said, what the heck? I'll make sure I leave it to you.
Oh. I need you to sign some papers, though.
We'll get to that after. Charlene, I'd like to hear from you how you became a Blazer fan.
how did I become? So my family moved there from Liberia, and I can't remember what or how, but I remember that was just what we did as a family. We will watch the game, or if we have family errands to run, literally listen to Bill Schonley on the radio.
Oh, yeah, we still have the
So-
same radio.
We do. So literally, my family members just watching basketball.
How
And
old were you when you first started?
So when I came, I was what, 12?
Yeah, 12.
Yeah. So just grew up watching Blazer, been a Blazer fan for 20 plus years.
So what do you see the future for the Blazers, at least, how do you feel like they're going to finish this year?
I'm hopeful. I mean, I always approach the season hoping and believing this may just be the year. I think definitely being Arinze's mom, I pray and hope that one day, sooner rather than later, the Blazers will win a championship so he can have that experience. Actually, so for Christmas, Arinze got his godmother, who's also a Blazer fan, one of her first memories was when the Blazers won the championship in '77. He got her a Blazer shirt this Christmas, and she had like tears in her eyes. And she's like, I remember this. So I think, I'm hoping that this year we can at least make it to the second round. I'm definitely rooting for that. Or third round. That would be amazing.
All right.
A finals. But we don't want to jinx. But I have high hopes and expectation. I think we've had some bumpy start, but I think we're on the up and up.
Think about it. We're not bumpy. This is our best start since 2014 and 15. That's when we had Dame Lillard, Wesley Matthews, Nick Batum, LaMarcus Aldridge, Robin Lopez. This is our best start since then.
He knows his
We
stuff.
were
That's the
20.
real talk.
We were 25-8.
Yeah.
If I recall right.
And he knows all the stats.
Well, that's
We are
real talk because
20
people keep glossing over
what?
that.
This is
20
like
and
me as a
16.
child. I love it.
This is him, seriously.
20-16 this year. It's not. Think about it. We can go on a win streak. This whole thing. Remember when you thought that we were gonna lose?
He was looking at
his
his
mom.
Looking at her. That was like a little mean mugging going on. You doubted.
Sometimes it's hard.
I want to talk about to go back to our theme of basketball and friendship. Yeah. Just kind of muse, like, how do you think your life has been affected or impacted by basketball and the people that you've met, the relationships that you've forged?
Wow. I mean, every so often I'll post on my Facebook that our Blazer experience is more than just basketball and sports. I think for us, yes, it's the Blazer game, but it's more than the Blazer game because we've met people through the Blazers who are like our Blazer family. And through that, you definitely get to see life in different ways. You get to see that it is more than a basketball, right? Like sports is an avenue for forming relationships. It's getting to know people on a deeper level. It's, it's understanding, like it transcends age. It transcends, like racial differences, political differences. And for that moment, being able to bond or using basketball as that avenue. Arinze has been able to be exposed to, oh my gosh, so much. I mean, like, one of the things I remember, actually, a couple of years ago, I moved back home to Liberia, and I was in Liberia when Dame hit that shot against Houston. It was an 8-hour time difference. I went to work. It was like 3-something in the morning. I went to work so exhausted that next day, and I told myself, the minute I move back to the States, I'm getting season tickets.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I want to be there for every moment like that for the rest of my life. So definitely, like having season tickets, we've been able to even form a deeper relationship with fans. The staff, of course, like how the guys have been able to embrace Arinze and
You're supposed to be my mother, and you don't even know how to pronounce.
I do know how to say your name. God, Jesus, this is him. So he's been able to see and form relationships with the guys. They've been able to pour into him. As a young black male growing up, it's important for him to see, folks who look like him share their life experience and have him marvel. And I think it's also inspired him too, where he's been able to, want to launch a sports academy in Liberia as well. So it really is more than just basketball. It's an avenue to life. Mm-hmm. It's a pathway to life. I've been able to, just bonding with Miss Soosie. There's what's the age difference? I don't even know.
I'm 77, honey.
Oh, 1977.
No.
So
yeah,
what?
I'm
That's 40
77
plus.
years old. And I have to tell you, I've enjoyed this relationship. I feel blessed that she asked me to come to his 4th birthday. I look for him. I'm thrilled when I'm walking out and somebody comes up behind me and gives me a hug. It's this guy.
And have been able to measure each other to track each other. How
We've been tracking. Yeah, he's finally tall. He's taller now.
At 10, he's crossed the mark.
I went through this with my kids too. They could hardly wait till they got. But I tell you, recently I had a birthday, and the birthday was the day after or before the game on the 19th, and when they put it up on the jumbotron, "Happy birthday to Soosie," I'm going, oh wow, that's exciting, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of commotion over here, and I look over, and he's crawling over the people between me and the aisle to wish me a happy birthday and give me a hug. Do you know what? That was a wonderful thing to do.
He's like, I gotta find Miss Susie. It's her birthday.
It was just made me so happy. And what more could you want? I mean, to have basketball make it special.
I know, that's so sweet. I love it.
I loved it.
It's bigger than basketball.
Yes.
And rumor has it, you got a pretty cool chance to be on the court this season.
He's down there all the time. He's out there practicing and throwing. They're all talking to him, and I watch him. It's amazing what you get away with. I wish I was younger so I could do it too.
Yeah, shout out to my dude Yim. He's a real one.
Who's Yim?
You don't know who Yim is?
Oh, Yim. Oh,
I know who he is.
It's Jonathan Yim. Shout out to him.
What are some of the things that you think you've learned because you've gotten to hang out and watch the players so closely and talk to them? What are some things that really have stuck with you?
Probably the coolest thing that's ever happened is when Dame sent me up like a whole box of shoes. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's really neat. Did he say why he gave you some shoes?
No, I just said.
He was just thinking about
Tim,
you.
my biggest fan of Arinze.
He said, because you're always so supportive. Remember the article? This was years ago, where they wrote about when he remodeled his grandma's house.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of that?
It's really cool because that's what I want to do.
What is it that you want to do?
Remodel my grandmother's house. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool.
I mean, it is pretty big already, but I think it needs a few tweaks, especially for me.
So, for people who might not remember the article, what was it that Damian did that you think
he remodeled his grandmother's house?
Okay,
and that was the house Damian grew up in.
And my grandma's house is where I grew up in.
I was going to say, so there's some of the similarities. Yeah. And Dame talked about how he spent a lot of time at his grandmother's house and the memories that he had.
I have been in my grandma's house. Ask my mom. It's
his favorite place.
She gets mad sometimes.
I'm like, you got to go home. You got to go home. We have
I'm at my grandma's house on the weekends. Basically, I don't really go to our house. I only get to go there to sleep. Because after school, when I get off the bus, I go to my grandma's. I stay there until 5. I go home. I go to bed.
What about Blazer nights? What's your routine on a game day?
So, I always have to pack my clothes to go to my grandma's, and then I get dressed there. I do my hair and stuff, and then I go to Moda Center.
When do you get there?
Depends on what time the game starts. Try to get there as early as possible so I can.
When the doors open.
Yeah. So.
What time do the doors open for like a 7:00 start?
5:30. So I always try
even
to.
7:30.
So I always try to.
Still 5:30.
Yeah.
So I always try to get there early so I can watch film with Coach Jim.
So you get to watch film with the coach?
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's pretty cool because it's he just tells me like analytics about the other team and stuff. And also and then I saw Zach Collins the other day, and it was pretty cool that he, at the Les Schwab Invitational, and he invited me to sit next to him. So I also saw Mr. Lucas, David Lucas, there too, so that was pretty cool.
I think I saw you on TV sitting next to Zach.
When?
Oh, it was on one of the newscasts about...
I can't keep track of
at the Les Schwab.
Huh?
I said probably. I can't.
Yeah.
He's
At
like,
the Les Schwab?
There he is again.
Just keeps popping up.
Yeah, well, the Gonzaga Prep versus versus University. That was a great game. I expected University to blow them out because, of course, a featured Duke prospect, Vernon Carey Jr. is on their team. I don't get what they feed these kids these days. Like, he's 6'10", and he has like a LeBron build, and he's a senior in high school.
I wondered the same thing. Like,
and I also saw Scotty Barnes.
Did you see Scottie Pippen there?
I did. I saw him,
there?
Draymond, Kenyon Martin.
Everybody was there because
Sierra
both the
Canyon.
yeah. Well, so there's a bunch of players who have dads who are NBA or former NBA players.
Yeah.
Also, the Warriors were in town.
Yeah, so they just came. And then Jimmy Butler was also at the Les Schwab Invitational. Sorry, Jimmy Buckets, but we're gonna crush your dreams tonight.
All right, I'm so glad.
I keep on forgetting that he plays for the 76ers because I was like, why do we play against the Timberwolves tomorrow? And I looked at like the booklet that they always give you before the games, and I said, oh, Philadelphia. I wonder why. Maybe he has a friend who plays for Philadelphia. Because I was really confused because sometimes tonight, I wouldn't have even known who we're playing against if I hadn't looked at the program. I don't even look at the schedule usually.
Because you read that program.
You just show up. You read it when you get there.
We have all the programs for the last 2 years.
So Arinze,
I
I'm the only one. Like, what am I going to do with all the?
I know, I have them all too.
So keep collecting them. Okay.
yeah, just keep going.
Okay.
You can leave them to Arinze when you're dead.
Golden Girls were in it once.
Okay, wait. I have a question for you, Arinze. Do you ever? So, if you had a friend who like really wasn't into basketball, but you thought, oh, my friend would really enjoy this.
He's not my friend. He or she is not
Well,
Stop.
What would you say to try to convince someone that basketball is cool and worth following?
Look at me. And then you see that basketball is really cool. And if you always need something to do when you're bored, basketball.
I mean, you can play it. You can grab a basketball and go play it.
Mm-hmm.
What can they learn from basketball?
Leadership and teamwork.
Perfect.
Turning it to you, Miss Soosie and Charlene, how about things that you have learned from basketball over the years that you would maybe tell a friend who wasn't into it, but you really think that they might enjoy it?
Well, the teamwork is what I love the most. And to see people who, short or tall, will give their all and go for it. And there's nothing I love more than the only people I get upset with on the basketball court is people I don't think they're giving their all. When they give their all, I stand up and start throwing kisses out there. I love it. Love it. And people that don't want to take the time, and there's a lot of them that don't, to follow basketball, they're losing out on something really special in life. That's my opinion.
Best sport in the world.
I think basketball and sports in general, it's that cliche saying of teamwork makes the dream work, because there's only so much Damian can do, right? But if you combine the skills and the points of Dame, C.J., Nurk, right, that's how we're able to get to 115 or whatever.
And the bench.
And the bench.
Time out. Can I please name every single Blazer player?
Sure.
And I think I can name what college they went to.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Number 0, Damian Lillard, Weber State. He is from Oakland, California. Number 1, Evan Turner. He went to Ohio State. Of course, he is from Chicago. Number 2, Wade Baldwin IV. He went to Vanderbilt, which is in Memphis, and he also played with Karl Anthony Towns in high school.
Oh, I didn't know.
Number 3, C.J. McCollum. He is from Ohio, of course, Canton, Ohio, and he went to Lehigh. Number 4, Maurice Harkless. He is from the Bronx in New York and went to St. John's. Number 5, Pat Connaughton. Sadly, he's not here anymore. Number 6, Shabazz Napier. He's not here anymore. Number 7, number 6, Nick Stauskas. He is from Canada. Why did I almost say Canada? He's from Canada. He went to Michigan State.
7.
We don't have a 7.
Okay.
Number 8.
Number 8.
No, 8.
My second favorite player.
We do
You
have
better not
8.
forget number 8.
Wait. So. Oh! Al-Farouq Aminu.
Yes.
He's from Atlanta, Georgia. He is from Atlanta, Georgia, and he went to Wake Forest. Number 10, Jake Layman. I can't really remember where he's from, but he went to Maryland. Fun fact, Steve Blake also went there. Number 11, the Hammer, Myers Leonard. He went to Illinois, and fun fact, he has his own clothing brand. Plus, he brought like a 250-pound hammer to the game with his logo on it.
I want to know what male person had to carry that hammer to his house. Because, like, in a package, can you imagine just being like, what is in this package? And then it's a 200-pound hammer.
Like one of those things that you put on.
A hand cart?
Yeah, hand cart.
Oh.
Things that they brought with the hand cart. 12, number 13, number 14, number 15, number
27.
Oh, 27. Of course. Bulls mascot Zvija, the Bosnian beast. That's how you say it in Bosnian, of course. Yusuf Nurkic, he did not actually go to college. He just played for, I can't remember how to pronounce their name, but like Siska Vita. It's like a international team. Fun fact, he also started playing basketball when he was 14.
So you could take a few more years off before you really get started.
Yeah, it's 27.
If you want to be a basketball player.
29, 30, 31.
Who's
Seth
a
Curry.
retired Blazer with 30?
Oh, Terry Porter, of course. Who doesn't?
Really?
And Bob Gross.
Retired the same night, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. I was there that night they retired those numbers. You were very correct.
You said, are your seats underneath the Bobby Gross one?
No, we're underneath
Larry
the
Steele.
the
No,
Clyde.
I'm under Larry Steele.
We're underneath Clyde.
You're underneath Clyde.
For our seats.
Okay,
So-
31.
31, SC31, that's what I like to call him. Seth Curry, the better Curry. He is from Charlotte, North Carolina.
We
And,
skipped over number 22.
Number 22,
My very favorite of all Blazers.
Number 22.
Clyde Drexler.
Clyde the Glide.
Clyde the Glide.
Well, I didn't know that we're doing retired.
Well, you're
players
going to
now.
talk about Pat Connaughton. You're going to talk about Clyde Drexler.
Newerly formal.
Oh, my bad. All right, okay. Nobody.
Is that as
Wait,
they go?
number 9, my boy Gary Trent Jr.
Oh,
G. Trent
sorry, Gary.
from Minnesota. He went to Duke University. He's a Blue Devil. He's a part of the Brotherhood. Number
Are
24.
you a Duke fan too?
You two
Yeah.
can
Oh
talk
my
later.
god. Oh, we're about to be best friends.
He loves.
Seth also went to Duke, let's remember.
Number
Because we did that a little bit.
Oh, I'm stuck under the rug.
Did we get all of the?
Number 24, Anthony Ant Simons. He did not go to college. He was going to go to Louisville, actually, but he did not go there. He went to Edgewater High. Also went to Montverde. Finally went to IMG Prep School. He is from Florida, as you could probably easily guess, because all three of those schools are in Florida.
I don't know how he knows.
Fun fact, he was named after Anthony Hardaway.
Is that
Number
everybody?
33. No, definitely not.
No, I mean like
The current players. You
Have
guys-
we
Number
done the whole
33?
roster?
No. Number 33, Zach Big Z Collins
Oh, how could I forget?
from Las Vegas, went to Bishop Gorman High School. 3-time state championship champion is what we're talking about at Les Schwab. 3-time state champion, was not on varsity his freshman year.
He went to
Gonzaga High School, Gonzaga College, which is in which is in Seattle, and people really criticize the Blazers for picking him.
Spokane
To be
So
specific. But he has really proved his worth here in Portland.
Okay, well, we need to start wrapping it up.
50, Caleb Biggie Swanigan.
Yes.
Caleb Swanigan went to Purdue.
Nice job. Boy, that was all off the top of his head,
And
too,
my-
by the way.
Very
And number 77.
Mom is holding onto
Of
the
course,
phone right now.
Jack Ramsey.
That was all off the top of his head.
Well, I had one more question. So do you think your family is closer, especially you and your mom are closer because of your love of basketball? Because I know that me and my dad are definitely a lot closer because of our love of the Blazers.
I mean, we definitely spend a lot more time together.
Actually, I think we do have a special bond. He told me if I ever have more children, they cannot come to our Blazer games because that's our time together. Because I need to find other hobbies for them. But we're going to figure out how to share.
Try golf.
We can do golfing too.
Putt-putt.
Susie
But
likes
yeah,
to
we
go.
spend a lot of time together with Blazers. We literally plan a lot of things around Blazer games. People know not to invite me out to anything if there's a Blazer game. Look at the Blazer schedule before you invite me because it will likely be a no.
I'm with you. I skipped my 10-year reunion last night from high school because it was during a Golden State game, and I was like,
It's a serious game.
Do you
Did you not check the schedule when you scheduled
Portland?
this?
Like, we went to high school in
Seriously,
Portland.
you
Like,
should
what are you
plan.
What high
doing?
school did you go to?
Grant.
Oh, Grant.
I,
My mom's a demo.
I have to say, when I started with the
yeah.
Blazers day one, and my kids grew up. I have 2 daughters, and they grew up loving the Blazers, just absolutely loving. Johnny Davis was on that team, the winning team,
Great guy.
and one of my friends lived in the same apartments where he lived, and he was making a lot of noise one night, and she went upstairs and knocked on the door and asked him to turn down his records or whatever. And he told her who he was, and he offered to give her tickets, and he apologized. And she knew I was crazy, fun. I was crazy about the Blazers. So she called me up and gave me the tickets. So I got tickets a lot from Johnny Davis. In those days, you didn't have the cell phones. So if she wasn't home, I didn't get them. The day they won the championship, he came down to give her tickets. And guess what? She wasn't home.
I would never leave my house again. Like, I would never leave my
Yeah.
house again.
Yes. Well, it was her, but she didn't. She wasn't one that was a
I would've
friend.
become his
I mean,
friend.
she'd always give them to me, and he would give me his shoes, and I would send him back to, I think it was Philadelphia, to the boys' club. But I've never forgiven
We're not
her.
friends if that happens. We're not friends.
Well, I think that's why they need to have another championship run.
Yes.
So that
So
you
you
can
can
get
be
to
there.
that game.
That would be
if
so
you were that
amazing.
close and
Oh
not
my
able to
gosh.
make it.
Trust me. Hopefully, I need them to win in the next 11 years. Because then, when they're in the locker room celebrating, I could be drinking champagne too.
Oh,
So we have to wait 11 years for them to
Can
win.
we have
No.
one like in between?
Can you have apple cider?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cider?
Yes.
What's the fun of
Sparkling
that?
apple cider? If you shake
I
it, it goes.
Because
Well,
you can celebrate without it.
you can.
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't have to have it. to
Yeah, people
celebrate.
say that.
Let's all hope that we have lots to celebrate as Blazer fans over the next several years. And thank
3
you
years,
all
hopefully.
for coming and joining us today. This was really fun.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go Blazers!
Well, our thanks to Arinze and Soosie and Charlene, who were so gracious to come and talk to us and share their stories with us. It was just a pleasure to sit and listen to them talk. And I'm telling you, we got to have Soosie back. We should have them all back on. But Soosie went to the very first Blazer game in Portland, and I don't know if she's missed many over the years. She has so many. She and I were just like talking in the coffee shop before we even got started, and she had told me like 5 other amazing stories. So
I could listen to her talk for years. Like,
yes,
just audiobooks for forever of just Susie stories.
right, exactly. And Charlene and Arinze were so great, and I want to hear more. Charlene brought such an interesting perspective, having come to the country when she was 12 and bonding over sports with her family. I was like, now that I re-listened to it again, I'm like, I want to explore that more and find out more about how families bond over over things like sports. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Women's Hoops and Talks. I can be found on Twitter at TCBBiggs, and you can find the podcast at Hoops and Talks on Twitter. You can find the podcast in the Blazers Edge podcast feed. If you like it, please subscribe. And a reminder that Blazers Edge Night is coming up. So if folks are feeling inclined, they can purchase and donate tickets to kids and their chaperones who might otherwise not be able to attend games. You can find information about that on blazersedge.com. Cassidy, why don't you tell folks where they can find you and take us out of here?
You can find me at Cassidy Gemmett on Twitter. And then I think we're all going to be meeting up at the McMinimums on Broadway this coming Sunday, the 13th of January.
Yes.
Have a good night and go Blazers.
All right. Thanks. Ooh, thank you for remembering the what?
Yeah.
Meetup. I totally forgot about that.
Awesome. That's
All
so
right.
exciting that fan found us from Minnesota, is it?
I know, and everybody's so excited.
She's going to be so popular. I know. I keep, every time I wear a Blazer sweatshirt, somebody at work, one of our customers is always like, oh, are you a fan? And they'll start talking to me. I've invited so many people, so I hope someone shows up.
That's awesome. Yay.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Cassidy. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I will let you know when this is done.
Awesome. Talk to you later.
Have a great night. Bye.
You too, bye.